Hey everyone. Today I'm here with Nancy Dunkel. She is a marketing and communications leader with career spanning tech giants such as Palo Alto Networks, NetApp, Cisco, and even a stint at McAfee. Now at the helm of her own fractional project based agency, On Call Marketing, she crafts messaging that makes complex ideas clear and impactful, connecting with audiences across industries. Nancy, thank you so much for joining us. How you doing?
Great. It's so good to be here.
It's yeah, we I'm really excited to actually dive in because you've worked with a lot of obviously a lot of larger companies and companies that are well known to many of us in the industry. But at the same time, the focus has been on communication and speaking to people outside of the organization, which is always really complicated when every word is really on the line. So
Yeah.
if you can, and I know that now you, as I mentioned, you've switched over to working as a fractional with fractional services as well. So if you
Yeah.
could sum up quickly, explain to somebody, explain to a child or something what it is you do, how would you do that?
So within marketing for cybersecurity, it's really hard to get that concept across to people that aren't really technical. So I always like to say it's you have valuables in your home. You have jewelry, you have cash, you have sensitive documents, and you have it in a safe. And what cybersecurity does is these programs, they watch out for your safe and they make sure that everything is safe within your safe, right? And so my job is to tell people about that in really clear, kind of simple terms. So that's my job to make the very technical very simple to understand.
Yeah. It is. It's something that a lot of times that and being a content marketer as well for cybersecurity companies, it's the
Yeah.
constant challenge is how do you speak with the engineers and the CEOs and people that are passionate about each feature and then say,
Mhm.
okay, here's how we deliver it so that people could be as excited as you are. And
Yes.
so spanning back to working at McAfee, I'm
Mhm.
curious what, and maybe it was there, what got you into the world of cybersecurity? And now that we're here in 2024, what has kept you here so long and what keeps you here?
I think it's just everything is ever changing and it's really fascinating. So my first foray into the cybersecurity world was McAfee. And they used to show us demos about how you'd be typing on your computer and then the attack would be somebody that really literally had your a mirror of your computer screen. And as you're typing in that credit card number or other sensitive information, they just be pulling it off. And that's what got me hooked. I'm like, wow, this is really happening in real time to a lot of different people. And then what I worked on there was the threat reports. So I think that's one of the most important things is that companies who aren't in cybersecurity and even people who the companies that are, they have what's the newest, latest, and greatest cyber threats. And that could change on a daily basis. That it's always something new. They're always coming up with something more inventive to get into the network.
Yes, one I think a lot of I can't be the only one, but I do have a bit of admiration for the creativity of threat actors. I don't support what they do, but
Right.
sometimes you hear of an attack and you're like, "Oh, that was good. That was good." I'm sorry it
Yeah.
happened, but that was a very clever approach.
Oh,
Um,
definitely. Yeah, and
and
I've
so
I've had a lot of different hackers on my personal stuff and those phone calls that we all get, those, "Hi, Microsoft here. Give us
yeah,
all your data and we'll help you solve an issue." I'm like, "What?" So they are very, very clever,
yeah.
very clever.
And I think the only thing that I truly like more than a really clever idea is people who then will like hack into a call center and then call them. It
Yes.
feels a little better. Uh, Um,
Doesn't it?
and if you weren't doing what you're doing now, if you weren't in the world of cybersecurity, what do you think you would be doing?
Gosh, I actually really love marketing and communication, so I would definitely be doing that. But in an alternative universe, I think I would be a natural perfumer. I love, natural perfumes. I love, oils and healing oils and things like that, and I've studied it, and I can pull together a quite nice fragrance out of natural organic oils.
That's really
So I
cool.
would be doing that and marketing it.
Yes,
So
of course.
but
Yeah.
yeah, no, marketing and communications is really my thing. I love it. I love getting messages that really speak to the audience, whether that's a technical audience or a non-technical audience, really getting into the minds of the audiences and delivering that perfect message.
Excellent.
That's fun for me.
And, and so it, so that's really cool. I love asking that question. Usually people wait till the end of the interview for that question, but I think it gives a little bit of insight into, okay, yeah, you live and breathe cybersecurity, but we live in the real world too, and we have other ideas and passions and
Yeah.
hobbies. But
Yeah.
what's part of your role? And again, just specific to the vantage point that you have within the industry, within the companies you worked with this new venture that you're working on, or actually, I don't know if it's so new. Let's start that over. Is it new? What should I call it? An agency? What's the
It's a fractional agency. I've been consulting on and off since 2000. I really love consulting and I just thought I'd get back into it. So it's a revamp of my consulting and agency. And I've pulled together some really talented people, both in the design and writing world and social media. And yeah, so I'm back to my roots of consulting.
awesome? And what is something either from consulting or from the different companies that you've worked with, what's something that would surprise other people? Not necessarily someone who doesn't work day to day in cybersecurity, but even people within the industry. What is something that would surprise them that only you see?
I would say messaging, really clear, concise messaging, and taking these lofty ideas or very technical ideas and bringing down to the really a relatable area. That takes more time and more thought than I think people think. It's not as easy as just writing it down or, okay, oh, that's a great idea. Let's just do it. It really takes a long time to really hone that perfect message. And in my opinion, once you hone that perfect message, it's golden. Everything runs smoothly. Yeah. So that would be what I think surprises people the most.
Well, yeah, and I would even think when you have a good message, I've worked with a couple companies now during their branding periods, and when you have the right message for your company, it's also not very limited. So it creates a scope or a focus, but it allows you to talk about those new features. It allows you to go in different directions with the company, but it still expresses who they are. It's still very clear that, this is whichever company it is. And
Yeah.
when it when it comes to, I'm going to try to tie in a lot here, but I've been asking everyone who comes on is, how do you expect AI to change cybersecurity, your role in the next, let's say, 6 months to a year to 3 years? Not like the future of AI, but I'm going to make it a little harder for you. And how do you see AI impacting, I guess, branding efforts or different kinds of marketing efforts within cybersecurity specifically, just because you do have so much expertise in that area?
Yeah. I would say so first, I think it will really help identify threats faster. So I think that's for on the technical end, I think
Sure.
that's what will be happening. On a messaging, branding, voice message, I think it will allow us get to the voice of the customer faster. And what I mean by that is I think AI will help us to pull data very quickly about particular audiences and even audiences that we haven't thought of before. And I think that's what will really help us. Um, I think defining the target audience. If I was going to just get it down to one granular thing, get it very quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I like
actually
AI.
and I
Yeah,
yeah, I saw something recently where somebody put together a whole prompt about that exact thing, about this is what we have, and it wasn't a simple prompt. It was quite hefty, but it really was like
right.
all these different variables, and they didn't show the result. It was just, this is what we recommend. But it is really amazing how you can use AI to actually, and I like this in my writing, to hold a mirror to yourself, right? To your efforts, right? Hey, what's the
Yeah,
main message that's coming across here? Is this the right audience for it? Why is it the right
yeah.
audience, right? Really force it to explain. Cool. And if you could change one thing about cybersecurity, about the way people perceive cybersecurity, what would that be? And again, people within and both without. So not necessarily what would surprise what you do, but more the general approach to cybersecurity, even either what you've seen from clients who want to discuss their branding within cybersecurity, or just the way that the market in general is perceiving the world of cybersecurity. What's one thing you would like to call out and have people recognize?
I think it's important for every single company, right? So if you're in the banking industry, it's very important. Every single industry needs help with cybersecurity. It's everywhere, it's pervasive. And I don't think it's something to be scared about. It's something to be educated about. So that's what I would tell any client, if especially in tech, you don't want to scare people about it. You want to educate them. You want them to understand that this is everywhere. We're taking care of it. So you don't have to worry. We're your trusted advisor. We're your trusted software. We're your trusted hardware. We have all the mechanisms in place to keep customers, enterprises, small businesses, solopreneurs safe. So
Hmm.
that's what I would say. It's everywhere, and don't scare people. Say we've got you covered.
Yes.
That's what I would say.
Yeah. And I just have another question for you. I think we have more
Mhm,
time and I just thought of it. So when you're talking about the pervasiveness of cybersecurity, and when it comes to enterprises and larger businesses, it's
mhm.
understood that cybersecurity is necessary, not only
Right.
from the aspect of protecting their assets, which is the most obvious, but also from
Mhm,
a risk perspective and how much risk,
right.
what's the risk tolerance of a company and how does cyber play into that? But
Mhm,
what would you say to either founders, and I think founders nowadays are a little more aware of the impact marketing has on their efforts. While in the
yes,
past it was a little bit more, if you build it, they will come. Now it's a lot more, hey, we need to stand out a little bit. We don't need to be B2B. We're not selling sunglasses here, but we do
right.
need to grab some market attention. So what are a few tips or secrets or insider that or some kind of process? Like what is the mindset that you try to give to your clients so that they can understand the importance or at least properly invest proportionally as needed into their marketing efforts?
It really comes down to the customer, whoever the target customer is, and what pain point are you trying to solve for this person? And that could be anything, depending on who the customer is. What is my tip? Just get to know your customer. Really, whatever that means. Is it surveys? Is it talking one on one? Is it going out in the field and working with those customers to understand really what it is that their pain points is? Because that is your foundation. The company's job is to solve that pain point, whatever that might be. Um, so that's my tip. So get to know that customer and write
Absolutely.
directly to that customer and have everything flow into that. So when we were talking earlier about messaging, when you have that messaging document that's very clear and crisp, every single thing, whether it's PR or a data sheet or a
Mhm.
speech, everything should go back to that messaging and do the test. Does this match up with our messaging?
What I
Is it the
always
mess?
do when I start working with another company, and you may have a different method, this is what I found works. I
Yeah.
always narrow down what are the 4 things that we wanna repeat
Mhm.
on ad nauseum for the next year.
Yes.
And if everything we do has to touch upon at least one of them, and I don't
Hmm.
wanna see any new pain point that's not here. Unless,
That's
of
right.
course, the market has changed to requesting it. But a lot of times it just avoids the shiny object syndrome, right? This person wants this feature. Oh, let's say this and that. And over
Yes.
time, it's been a year and the market just, yeah, we know the name. We have no idea what they do. So I always try to, that's personally what I do, which I
Like a
find it
four.
also, yeah. And they don't have to
I'm a
have the
person.
equal, they don't have to have, or three, that works too. They don't need equal attention, right? They don't have to
Yeah,
be, and it could even be three different angles of the same problem. It doesn't have to be the
exactly.
same, it doesn't have to be three totally separate pain points. It can even be one pain, just looking at it a different way. All right, Nancy, that's all the time we have for now. But how
Okay.
can people get in touch with you? What's the best way to reach out?
The best place to get in touch with me is LinkedIn right now.
Right.
It's LinkedIn at Nancy Dunkel,
All right. I will put
Dunkel.
Yes, I will. It's going to be in the subtitles, the captions video, but
Wonderful.
I'll also put a link as well in the post so everyone can reach out directly.
Wonderful. It's been really fun. Always great to talk to you.
Same. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.